Hello guys, welcome back to TFD. Alright, everyone, just slow this down for a second, okay? Because we really need to unpack what is happening here. And I mean that. Unpack it. This story isn't just wild, it's dangerous. Dangerous for the future of the WNBA if this keeps going in this direction. The CBA situation has officially crossed a line. This is no longer negotiations behind closed doors. This has turned into a public power struggle, a stare-down. And right now, the league is staring straight at a potential disaster. Yesterday, the WNBPA announced they secured enough votes to authorize a strike. Let that sink in for a second. A strike, one that could completely shut down the 2026 season before it even begins. A full work stoppage. No games, no momentum, no growth. And yeah, no payoff from the massive surge of attention this league just had, largely because of Caitlyn Clark. That momentum? It's fragile. It's not guaranteed. And it can absolutely be destroyed by one bad decision. One. Then came the response from the WNBA owners, and it was not soft, not even close. The owners flat out rejected the union's narrative, accusing the players of misleading the public. Their position was crystal clear. They claim legitimate, good faith offers have been made, and they believe the union is distorting the reality of negotiations to gain leverage. In plain terms, the owners are saying, you are not telling the truth. Now, yes, 98% of players reportedly voted yes to authorize a strike. That sounds overwhelming, but that's not the full picture. Some players didn't vote at all. Others voted no. And that matters. That really matters. Now, a lot of fans believe one of those 3 no votes belongs to Caitlyn Clark, and that belief didn't come out of nowhere. It's based on her own words at Team USA camp. When she was asked about the CBA situation, she didn't echo the hardline rhetoric. She didn't. She said yes, players should fight for what they want, but ultimately, there has to be compromise. And then she emphasized something even more important. They need to play basketball. Her message was simple, practical. The league needs games. The fans want games. The 2026 WNBA season needs to happen. That's how momentum is sustained. That's how money is actually made. No games means no growth, no exposure, no leverage. And then you contrast that with what came next. Kelsey Plum stepped out and basically said the opposite. Napheesa Collier and Breanna Stewart set a much more aggressive tone at the podium, and later, Collier tried to suggest that everyone was on the same page. But that's not true. It's just not. Caitlyn Clark is clearly not on the same page when it comes to using a strike as a weapon. And that's why so many people believe Caitlyn Clark was one of the 3 players who voted no. And honestly, that belief isn't extreme. It's logical. Based on what she said publicly, it fits. I personally believe the names of those 3 players will eventually come out. And I also believe Caitlyn Clark is one of them. If you believe that too, I'm right there with you. Now, we do have an update on the situation, and this one adds another layer. Alexa Philippou posted an article today, and it says that WNBA PA president Nneka Ogwumike told ESPN on Friday, so she's still going on, Nneka Ogwumike told ESPN on Friday that despite the union's strike authorization vote amid current negotiations for a new CBA, WNBA players still want to play next season. She was quoted as saying, "We're looking for a good deal to get done, but I think we're also prepared for whatever it takes for that to happen, while also understanding that we want a 2026 season." And then Ogwumike,
also told ESPN, "We want to make sure that the season is the way it can be best for us to put the product on the court and for that product to be valued." Now, the players voted on the strike authorization throughout the week, with 93% of players participating, as I mentioned before. There were some players who didn't participate at all, and three, voted no. So again, 93% participation and 98% voted yes. And this part matters because the vote does not mean a strike is imminent. What it actually does is give the union's 7-person executive committee the authority to vote on whether to strike if it's deemed necessary. Ogwumike called the vote a symbol of our unity and the confidence that we have in each other to give ourselves some level of authority in these negotiations. She added, "This means we could possibly strike if we need to, but it doesn't mean that we want that to happen. But we have it in our arsenal in order to get exactly what we need, which is a fair deal that represents our value in a very meaningful way." Now, here's something people forget. A work stoppage, either a strike by the players or a lockout by the owners, has never happened in the league's nearly 30-year history. Never. The players agreed to extend the CBA and continue talks through January 9th, the second extension since the deal's original expiration date of October 31st. But even as that new deadline approaches, Ogwumike says she doesn't feel like anything has substantially changed in conversations. And that right there, that's a red flag to me, because it feels like a lot has changed based on what we've been reading. The offers, the money reportedly jumping to $1.3 million, all of this stuff, a lot has gone on. You couldn't get anything done by October 31st, then you extend to January 9th. Now we're nearly Christmas, and you're saying no real changes have happened. That's disheartening. She was quoted as saying it feels almost like negotiations are still in their infancy. But according to a source, the Women's National Basketball Association's latest proposal includes an uncapped revenue sharing model that would raise maximum salaries above $1.3 million, up from $249,000 in 2025, and grow to nearly $2 million over the life of the deal. Average salaries? Above $530,000, up from $120,000 in 2025, and growing to more than $770,000 over the life of the deal. Minimum salaries would exceed $250,000 in year one alone, up from $66,000. That sounds like a lot of change to me. However, despite those massive increases, Ogwumike says the revenue-sharing model proposed by the league is still not adequate, especially given what she describes as the creativity and innovation from the players' side to meet the league closer to the middle, which she says has not been reciprocated. The union has proposed a system where players receive about 30% of gross revenue. And the owners are not going to do that. That 30% number, you might as well forget about it. Ogwumike says there's room for greater collaboration and cohesiveness across the table. And with 3 weeks remaining before the new deadline, she said, "I'm hopeful. I want to play, and I know that we're going to get a good deal done on behalf of these players, along with the amazing leadership of this executive committee. I'm looking forward to seeing how conversations can be more collaborative." Hopeful, but time is running out. So, this is where things stand right now. The players are unified. They've made their position crystal clear, and they've put real leverage on the table. But they are still signaling that a strike is a last resort, not the goal. At the same time, the league is presenting offers that look massive on paper, while the players are saying the structure and revenue share still do not reflect their true value. With January 9th approaching fast, the pressure is now on both sides to move beyond symbolism and actually close the gap. Because for the first time in nearly 30 years, the WNBA is staring at a moment that could reshape the league's future, either through a historic agreement or through a level of labor tension the league has never experienced before. The next few weeks will tell us everything. So, that's where we stand right now with all of this. The players are unified publicly, but behind the scenes, there are still questions. And one of the biggest is whether Caitlyn Clark was among the few who voted against the WNBPA's strike authorization. That's a real conversation worth having. I want to hear from you. Drop your thoughts in the comments and tell me what you think actually happened here. And if you enjoyed this kind of breakdown, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, share it out, and stay locked in. We're covering it all.